Over 80,000 young people in New Zealand don't have a job. They're also not in education or even in any training. They do nothing, and the figure is rising. So the government admits they are at risk of becoming long-term welfare dependents. It's announced, as a result, a bunch of incentives to try and get these young people into work or training. Social Development Minister Paula Bennett joins us now to explain. Minister, thanks very much for coming in. Major worry here, yet another rise in the number of what we term as NEETs, i.e. those not in education, employment or training. Yeah, well, look, what they have done, though, is they're counting it differently now. So what they are also counting is those that are caring for someone. So there's an extra sort of 22,000 in that number that they didn't count before December 11, and they do count now. But it's still a big problem.
And it's still gone up another 4,000, another 5% since March.
Yeah, no, well, we have seen an actual decrease in some respects. So it depends. As I say, the increase is because they're counting these extra ones that are perhaps caring for either a child or a parent or someone like that.
There are actually less.
There is actually less. That it has gone down, but I still say we've got a long way to go. We've still got thousands who are not in...
Tens of thousands doing nothing.
Who are not in education, employment or training. So we're making a big difference. So we've got a bill going through the House at the moment that's about really addressing those 16 and 17-year-olds that we're most concerned about. And we're going to be really wrapping services around them. They're not going to get any money from work and income unless they're in education and training. We're giving them all this pastoral support around them. And then yesterday we announced another whole thing, which is sort of the job streams. And that's for people that are on benefit. So that's generally your 18 years plus. And we're saying to employers, some of them can get a subsidy up to $21,000, which is pretty much that sort of minimum wage for 30 hours a week, you know, for a year. So for some of them, they will need that kind of support because they've been on for a while. Others, lesser amounts, support with training, support for that employer to take them on.
And in order to finance this, you're shelving other schemes which have been introduced, which haven't worked?
Well, what I've really done is I had a really good look at it and I said, actually, we've got great evidence now on what does work. You'll be pleased to know that, you know, the 4 years...
Throwing money at youth and at employers would work.
Well, we've kind of been doing a lot of stuff, and really what we did was we sat there and we said, let's have a really good evaluation of what works better than others, what employers want. And employers said to us they want something that's administratively simple, that actually addresses the needs of their businesses directly related, and that's what this package does.
Some employers will be saying our job ops programme or straight to work programme have been working wonderfully. Look at the number of people who we've managed to take out of the NEETs situation. And what is the situation for them? Are they now going to be reassigned, re-administrated?
You're right. So we have had some real successes. I mean, in job ops alone, and Community Max, we've had 17,000 young people as part of those programs over the last 2 years.
So the people who've been operating this programme successfully, where does this leave them?
They'll be pretty much in the same case, probably with less administration and more information. So we're taking the best of those ones, as you described, that do work. Straight to work's a classic. That's where we directly relate it to industry. So to give you an example, someone like a scaffolding company will say, we want the young guys, generally it is guys, to have health and safety. We want them to know the fundamentals of our business, and then we'll give them a job. So we spend a bit of money doing that. We're going to take the best of that into these programs, and we are dropping some others that have not been as successful.
It's been a relatively rough ride given the economic environment for the last 4 years. When are we actually going to see direct results, this 87,000 number who do nothing actually come down? What's your estimate, given the fact you're investing in this new programme?
So what you have seen is on the unemployment benefit, we had 23,500 young people on the benefit when it peaked in January 2010. We now have 13,000. That's come down by 10.5. We are making a difference on those NEETs, but it's not easy. They usually have far more problems than not just having...
What's your goal with the NEETs?
Obviously, we want to see that reduced considerably. We're at 13% now. Labor had it at about 10% at the best of sort of times. So if I can get it at 10% or less, I will be very happy.
You're aiming for 10% or less. How long do you think that'll take?
I was going to say, I can't give you a year on that.
I want a date.
You do want a date, don't you? Which is your job, and I can't give you that. All I can say is we are putting the investment in the right place. We are trying different initiatives, but also taking the best. It is our complete focus. We are seeing success, and we can have more.
Let's hope so. OK, Minister Paula Bennett, thanks very much for joining us.